This is Pod Populi, podcasts for the people. Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. It's your host, Sydney, and I've got a fun one for you today. Today, we're going to dive into traditions that make weddings, well, what you typically think of for a wedding. What are these traditions? Why do we do them? How did we get here? I know a lot of people today are not doing the traditions. And when I say make a wedding, of course, it's your love and that commitment that makes a wedding. But just some of these traditions are what, make what you think of when you picture a wedding, the white dress, the flowers, So it's funny because as a wedding planner, I know a lot of these traditions, obviously, but sometimes I wonder, where did they come from? People ask me all the time, well, what do people normally do? And I can tell them, often how a wedding day goes. But it just got me thinking recently, why do we do some of these things? Not that they're good or bad, but why? So let's break down some of the origins. Now, look, I just did a little Googling prepping for this. Not saying all of this is 100% fact. It's just what I found, some, broad definitions of some of these traditions that we see often. So let's see what these traditions are, how they evolved, and whether you actually need to do them at your wedding today. Because a lot of people are, I think a lot of people still do some of the traditions, and then a lot of people don't do some of these traditions. So maybe this will help you make a decision if you want to do it at your wedding. And I would love to hear what you guys are doing at your wedding. Definitely reach out. Let me know if you're doing these traditions or not. Okay. So the first one on my list is the bouquet toss. So it's originated in medieval Europe to distract the guests eager to grab a piece of the bride's dress for good luck. When I read that, I was like, what? So people, I guess, would try to grab a piece of the bride's dress. I guess, would they rip a piece of the fabric off? That sounds awful. That's so not nice. She probably, back then, I don't know if they spent a lot of money on their dress or they probably had someone make their dress who spent a lot of time on it. I don't know. But I guess people would grab a piece of the bride's dress. And I guess as time went on, they switched that to someone grabbing the bouquet. So the modern meaning of it is tossing the bouquet symbolizes passing on good fortune to the next bride. So maybe that's what originated. They took a piece of her dress and eventually people came to their senses and was like, let's not rip her dress apart. I don't know. But the modern meaning of it is tossing the bouquet. Whoever catches it, it's good luck for the next bride to be. I have seen some alternatives because if a lot of young brides who are getting married at 21, 22, 23, they have a lot of friends that are still single. But for my brides that are getting into 28, 29, 30s, a lot of their friends are already married. And then it's just their one single friend out on the dance floor. And it's not a bad thing at all, but it's just a little embarrassing for that one girl to be I'm still single. Let me catch this bouquet. So a fun twist that people are doing today is that the bride will actually hand their bouquet, dedicate their bouquet to someone. I have seen where another couple ends up getting engaged. She pretends she's going to throw it and then hands it to one of her friends. And then that girl's boyfriend, I guess at the time, walks up and proposes. I have mixed feelings on that. I'm kind of find your own day to propose, not at someone's wedding, but whatever. What I have seen that I really like is a bride dedicating her bouquet to her mom or to her parents, and then them doing a anniversary dance or something. So anyway, I just thought that was weird. The distracting guests eager to grab a piece of the bride's dress. That was so weird. I don't know, but there's fun ways to do it today, or you could just not do it at all. If you're running out of time on your wedding day, that's something that can easily just be crossed off the list. I promise you're not going to be sad that you didn't do your bouquet toss. It's like 2 seconds, you throw it. Yay. The pictures are cute, but don't stress over the bouquet toss. Okay. The next one, which is a huge one, is wearing white. So it was popularized by Queen Victoria in 1840. And before that, brides wore any color. It symbolizes purity and new beginnings. And I know that a lot of people today, most brides still wear white. I know that some people are getting a little different with it, where they're wearing like blush or pink or champagne gold. But I would say that we are still very much so in that traditional brides wear a white gown to their wedding. Whether, it symbolizes the whole purity thing. People, I think, kind of do what they want with that and ignore that meaning. But it can symbolize new beginnings, and a marriage is definitely a new beginning. So I do see most of my brides wear white. Sometimes it's like an ivory or, a little bit of a blush or champagne gold, but from far away, they all look white. They all look very traditionally like bridal gown. I haven't had any bride wear another color other than something pretty much white. Again, maybe like a champagne-y white or a blushy white, but all my brides are wearing traditional wedding dresses. Wedding cake. So we do a big wedding cake, but it's funny because I don't know very many people other than my husband, honestly, that would say that cake is their favorite dessert. So it's kind of funny because, like, why do we make such a big fuss over the cake when guests would probably love like another dessert even better? I would like, I don't know, I would rather ice cream or something. But the cake is such a thing, like your wedding cake, you have to do a wedding cake. And yeah, my husband's like favorite dessert is cake. That boy loves cake. It's so funny. Like Publix white vanilla birthday cake is what he wants on just your average random Tuesday night. So anyway, wedding cake. So the ancient Roman weddings featured a wheat or barley cake broken over the bride's head for fertility. I'm going to repeat that. So they feature a wheat or barley cake broken over the bride's head for fertility. What they put, I guess, is that why it's like the cake smash in your face? Because like they used to break the cake over the bride's head and for fertility. Like, did they think that if they didn't put the cake on her head that she wouldn't be fertile? That's insane. Yeah, wow. That one, I don't even like the smashing the cake in the bride's face. Like, I think it's rude. It's her wedding day. Don't smash the cake in her face. I don't know, a little like icing on her nose or something, if she says prior that it's okay. But let me tell you, when I was a bride, I told my husband that is one way to make this new marriage end real fast. Do not shove cake in my face on the day that I'm trying to look my best. So today's tradition, cutting the cake together, symbolizes unity. And, I had put like the cake smash is really just for fun, but I'm wondering if it has to do with like breaking the cake over the bride's head for fertility. Still so weird. But yeah, I mean, it's just a traditional, like, now everyone does it. So everyone feels like, oh, we got to cut the cake together and get those pictures. So if you're on the traditional side and you just want it, great. If you're wondering, like, why do we have to cut the cake together? Why do we have to do this? You really don't. I mean, it symbolizes unity, I guess, of you hold hands and like both your hands go on the cake knife and you cut it together. So I can see that. It symbolizes like we're doing this together. But if you're not a super traditional person and you're like, can I cut the cake cutting? I'd say, yeah, honestly, you don't have to do it. You don't have to take time out of your reception to gather everyone. Stop. What my only thing with some of these activities in the reception, I'm not against it, but if you have a shorter reception, if you only have like an hour of dancing or an hour and a half of dancing, what happens is the DJ gets the party going and everyone's having a blast. And then it's like, stop the party. We have to cut the cake. And it's like, yay, okay, you're cutting the cake, smile for the pictures. And while you're doing that, your guests are just kind of watching you cut the cake, which is fine. But then in that time, people might be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go get a drink. I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'm going to sit down, and it kind of kills the party. And then the DJ has to crank it back up. And if you only have a short reception, it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? So if you have a shorter reception, and you're okay with cutting out some of these traditional things that you don't care about, I would say cut the bouquet toss. If you don't want to cut the cake together, you don't have to cut the cake together, or you can just kind of go cut the cake together, but you don't have to announce it. I see a lot of people doing that. They just grab the photographer, go over, and they cut the cake, and most of the guests don't even know what happened, which no one really cares about. Some alternatives is I see a lot of people doing like dessert tables, donut walls, cupcakes, like replacing the traditional cakes, just getting fun and creative with it. And because again, my husband absolutely loves cake, but most guests, what I see is they can take or leave the cake. But if there's something like a dessert table, donut wall, truffles, anything like that, an ice cream station, they're going to that over the cake. And then the last tradition that I have on my list is something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into this last tradition and see where it came from and why we do it. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about our last tradition on my list for today, which is something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So I'm sure everyone has heard about this. Where the heck does it come from? Because honestly, even as a wedding planner, I don't know. So it originated, it's a Victorian rhyme meant to bring luck and ward off evil spirits. I feel like a lot of these traditions come from, I don't know what the right words are, but they thought like if they broke the cake over the bride's head, then she would be fertile. And maybe it's just because science has come so far in the last 100 years, that before this, they didn't understand how things worked, or that putting cake on a bride's head isn't going to make her fertile. But I guess, so something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. I guess they really thought that if they did this, that it would bring them good luck and ward off evil spirits. And maybe some people believe that today. Look, I'm not here to judge what people think. I personally don't really believe in that, but if you do, that's okay. But at the same time, like when I was a bride, I did a lot of these traditional things just because I don't know, that's what you do. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's kind of a fun tradition. But if you're kind of like, there is so much that's going into wedding planning and I'm overwhelmed, some of these things are probably things you can cut. Or if you love it and you just want to know, hey, why are we doing this? And you can play into it more. Here we go. So the breakdown is something old is continuity. So I think it's like, I probably said that word wrong, but that's okay. So, it's something old is something from your grandma to just continue the family traditions and make, kind of bring like their life into the future, like keep it alive kind of thing. Something new is optimism for the future. Something borrowed is borrowing happiness, is what it said. I guess if, someone else had, I don't know, a great marriage or something like that, then you can borrow something from them. And, I guess they thought it would borrow their happiness and help with the new marriage. And then blue, I guess, meant purity. So that's what it is. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, which I guess, it is a sweet, like sentimental thing. I definitely did I'm trying to think, what did I do? So You know what's so funny that I just thought of in this exact moment is I never looked this definition up when I was a bride at all. I did for my blue, I got stitching done on a garter that said like my new last name, like Mrs. Whitten. And then I had another garter done for like the toss that said you're next. And the stitching on it was blue. And that was my blue. And I am just laughing at myself. Maybe this is like a little inappropriate, but like that it was like the garter that I chose to be blue. And blue, I guess, is supposed to symbolize purity. It's kind of funny. But anyway, something borrowed. Oh, I wore a diamond tennis bracelet that my sister wore at her wedding, but my dad gave it to my mom like, I don't know, like 25 years ago or something. So it's my mom's bracelet that my sister wore in her wedding as her borrowed. And then I wore it again. Something new. Everything was new. I think I said my dress was new, but my dress was new, my shoes were new. Like, I think that's what my new was. And then something old was I had both my parents have like upgraded wedding rings that they wear day to day now. And so I had both my parents' original wedding rings, which my parents have been married now, I think 31 years. So when I got married a few years ago, they were, I think, at like 28 or 29 years. So a long time. And so I had my parents' wedding rings tied into my bouquet that I held, obviously walking down the aisle. And then it's in all my pictures. You can't really see the rings in all the pictures. We did take a few detail shots of it. But anyway, that's what I did. If you're looking for some ideas, it's something sweet. And do I think that having my parents' rings in my bouquet walking down the aisles, if I had it, if I didn't have it, is going to make or break my marriage? No, but I guess it's a sweet, like, it is just something nice. It is just something nice. So if you're on the side of, yeah, that's nice, I want to do something like that, it's sentimental. I think it meant a lot to my parents. I think that that's part of it, is that it meant a lot to my parents and made them happy. So if you're sentimental like that, go for it. Do something like that. If you're overwhelmed by wedding planning and like thinking, what the heck does all this even mean? Do I have to do it? No, you totally don't have to do it. Unless if you don't believe in, I don't know, some of these like rituals and like if it, I'm missing the word right now. But basically when you believe like if you practice these things, then it will work or it won't work. Is it superstitious that I'm thinking about? Anyway, I can't think of the right word, but yeah, those are some traditions that we do at weddings, and you totally can do them or you don't have to do them. So I did look up a few things on other countries and traditions that they do. And obviously there's a million of them, but let's go through a few different countries and their traditions, because again, I'm not trying to judge anyone, but it's just crazy thinking of like some different traditions. So the first one, in China, the brides wear red for good luck and prosperity. That's not that crazy, but some of these aren't crazy, but that's just something interesting, is that brides in China wear red, which is so different than white, just a different look to the photos and all of that. In India, I have seen this many times before. In India, henna ceremonies are a key pre-wedding ritual. If you don't know what henna is, it's like a temporary tattoo. Basically, I think it's made out of some sort of like tea that stains your skin. It's like a dark brown stain. And they do these like beautiful designs, mainly on the bride's like hands and arms. Look it up, Indian like henna. It is incredible. And like the way that they do it is like they put this, I don't know how they make the henna. It's like out of tea, but it's like a paste type texture. They put it in something like picture like icing a cake, like those triangular type bags that you see. So it's in something like that, and they hand draw these designs on these girls' arms, their hands, and it's incredible. The detail's incredible. But anyway, it stains their skin and it looks really pretty, but they do that before their wedding. If you are a New Girl fan, I'm thinking of when Cece is going to get married and she gets the henna and then falls asleep on her hand, and then the henna is like all over her face, stained. It's so funny. Anyway, in Germany, guests break porcelain before the wedding to bring good luck. I guess all of these are like, they think if you break porcelain or do this or do that, it's like bringing good luck, or it symbolizes, it's a lot of just like symbolism. Anyway, Scotland, blackening of the bride involves covering the bride in soot, mud, and flour to ward off evil spirits. What? That's insane. That is insane. I mean, I don't mean to judge, but I just found like it's going back to like covering the bride with cake. Why do they think? I mean, and this is a genuine question. Like, why do people think that if you like cover the bride with stuff, that it's going to make them fertile or ward off evil spirits? I probably shouldn't say that's insane, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm not here to judge. Do whatever you want, but it's just very interesting, especially because today, at least in America, we don't like cover the bride in anything. And today in America, because that's what I can speak on, that's what I'm familiar with. It's supposed to be like the bride's most beautiful day, and she gets her hair and her makeup done. And it's like so much time is spent on making sure that the bride looks her absolute best. And then I'm reading some of these traditions and it's like break the cake on her head, or like cover her in soot, mud, and flour to ward off evil spirits. That's crazy. All right, we're going to take another quick break and then we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. And yeah, I want to know what you guys think of these traditions. I hope I didn't offend anyone if this is your culture and you guys still do this. I should have looked up if they still do these traditions around the world. I feel like they probably do. We're going to have to dive into that and let me know if you guys are familiar with any of these other traditions, or if there's something like big that I missed. You guys are going to have to let me know. But as far as like the typical ones, again, here in America that I'm familiar with, a lot of these traditions are just symbols that are passed down through centuries. And whether you stick with the classics or put your own twist on things, I think the key is that making your day feel like you, making, it's your day, do it your way. If you want to do the tradition, go for it. If you don't, then you don't have to. Anyway, let me know what traditions you are doing or what you're not doing, what's your favorite and what's your least favorite. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. My wedding planning company is delightful_planning. And make sure you follow the Wedding Buzz as well. It's just at the Wedding Buzz podcast. But I hope you guys are enjoying this podcast. I hope you're learning some things. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.